What's up guys, it's Jeremy from SPKGear. Today I'm going to show you how I tweak my Tikka. Let's get into it. So this is an older Tikka T3 Lite with the synthetic stock in 30-06. So I'm going to make the gun safe right now by just removing the bolt. I've already got the magazine out. There's nothing in the chamber. So this gun comes really good from the factory, and I'm going to show you some small things that we can do to make this gun just a little bit better. What we're going to do today is we're going to install a new recoil lug. We're going to replace the action screws down here on the bottom, and then we're also going to put in a new trigger spring so that we can adjust this trigger to make it even better. First thing we need to do is we need to take the barreled action out of this stock so that we can work on the stock. All right, now we're going to just pull this barrel in action apart from the stock. We're going to leave the stock here because that's what we're working on. And for now, we're going to set this over to the side. Okay, so one thing that we're going to do to this stock is we're going to replace the recoil lug. The recoil lug is just a part of the stock that transfers the recoil to the stock, from the barreled action to the stock. And there's just a little notch in the barreled action that fits over that recoil lug to make that happen. And over time, these recoil lugs do get a little bit of wear, and so we're going to replace this one with the Mountain Tactical recoil lug that they sent us. All you need to do is get some needle nose pliers and just grab that lug, and you're just going to pull it straight like that. So you can definitely see some damage in there. So we're going to replace it with this Mountain Tactical one. And again, it's really simple. It's just going to slide straight down in. We're not going to push it all the way down. We're going to let the barrel and action do that when we put it all back together, just to make sure that it's seated correctly and not down too low. So we're going to just put the words Mountain Tactical up because it's cooler that way. And like I said, we're just going to hand push it down. And then when we put the barrel in there, it'll push itself the rest of the way down. So that is an easy upgrade. I think we will replace our trigger spring so that we can have even more finely adjusted trigger pull. The factory trigger on these, you can adjust it down to about 2 pounds, and with this you can go all the way to 12 ounces. So you're going to have a super light trigger for super accurate squeezing. You're not going to move the gun as much when you have a lighter trigger. Now there is a happy medium. I'm probably going to go like 1.5 pounds. I'm not going to go all the way to 12 ounces. That's kind of scary soft, but especially if you're in that long range shooting game, you're going to want a really light trigger. And if you're going to use the Tikkas for that, like I did in my previous video, which you're going to want to watch that one, how I built that out with an MDT field stock and then shot it all the way out to 1,000 yards just to show the accuracy that we were able to get. If I had put this spring in there, that would even make that trigger better. And I will probably go back in another instance and put a spring in that gun as well. But you should definitely go watch those videos and see that whole build process and review. Okay, to do this, we're going to have to remove this trigger. And there's this one bolt in here with this other keeper that we need to remove. So this bolt that we're pulling out here with its little flange holds this trigger in. It also keeps the trigger adjustment from coming out too far. And that's this little set screw in here. So we're going to just pull that out. Set this down for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull out this set screw next. 2.5. We'll pull that out all the way. Inside here is the spring, so we're going to be real careful with this. So our set screw comes out. Pointy end is going to go in. And inside here is our screw, and it's hooked to this other pin. Here's the Tikka factory spring. It's very heavy. We're going to change that out. The small end is what holds the spring. The long end is what goes into the trigger. Open up our Mountain Tactical spring. Again, it's super lightweight compared to this factory spring, and that's how it is able to make this trigger so much lighter. So we'll put this spring on that end, and then we're going to real carefully, so that they don't separate, put that back in like that, and then we're going to put our set screw back in there and get that going. We're going to put it in far enough so that we can put this all back together, and then we'll change that out. Okay, so now we need to take our barreled action. We're going to put the safety all the way back, because this pin then pops up and it's a little bit easier to insert all this back together, because it's just going to go in this hole right there. The safety sits over there on the side. It just goes on there like that. And then we take this bolt with our keeper on it. We're going to get that going. So this is definitely something anybody can do. I am far from a gunsmith. I'm just a hunter trying to make my stuff a little bit better, to make my hunting a little bit better. So Mountain Tactical has great videos on all this stuff, all these different upgrades, so that you can do this too. If you don't feel comfortable, you can follow along to their videos. There's no torque spec on this that I could find, so we're just gonna make sure it's nice and snug. So I want to make sure that this all works before I Now, the further out this set screw comes, the lighter the trigger is going to be, and I'm going to go in a little bit more. I don't have a measuring device to see how many pounds that trigger is, but it's definitely lighter than it used to be. So we're going to go with that. Okay, so we got that trigger spring in here and installed. I've got it to about where I want it. And what we're going to do here is install it this direction. Our goal is to get that lug lined up with the proper groove on this barreled action. So we'll get that in there. I'm going to kind of eyeball it. And then Squeeze that down, and there's a little hole on the side here, and when that's exactly even, you know that it's fully seated. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to install these new action bolts that were given to me also from Mountain Tactical. These are an upgrade from the factory bolts, so that's sweet. Remember, the small one goes in the front and the big one goes in the back. But I'm gonna kind of put these in here, hand tighten them, make sure that everything's lined up. So I'll set my torque wrench to 44 inch-pounds. And I'm just gonna tighten each side a little bit until we're getting there. Don't want to install this action unevenly. Okay, I'll recheck this torque a couple times each. All right, guys, so we made some tweaks to this gun to make it a lot better than it was. We upgraded our trigger spring to make it a lighter trigger pull. We changed out our recoil lug on the inside to make that just a little bit better transfer of energy from the barrel to the stock. And then we also replaced our action screws. All these parts came from Mountain Tactical in Bozeman, Montana. They have a whole bunch more parts that they have custom designed for your Tikka T3, T3X, all models. They're super helpful. I highly recommend that you give them a shout or check out their website, and I'll link that in the description below. But these minor little tweaks have made this gun better, and I can't wait to use it this hunting season. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you next time.